So now that you've learned about sales, customers, and the dashboard, we're going to talk about promotions next. So promotions is where you enable your catalog price rules and your shopping cart price rules. A catalog price rule is something like we have here, a 20% off selected furniture. This is going to be promotions that take place on the catalog products themselves. Let's say if you wanted a 10% off shipping or 10% off your order sort of thing, you would want that to be on your shopping cart because that's going to take it off the entire shopping cart amount, where these catalog price rules are going to do it on the products themselves. So you can go through here and see exactly how they created these to modify them or just try to change them to your fitting, and you can turn them on. Notice how you can have them starting on a date and ending on a date, or you can have them just be active for all dates, never turn off until you tell them to turn off. Next we have newsletter. Here you can create newsletter templates that you can send out to people who sign up for your site. You'll see on the front end of our site, on some pages we have this sign up for a newsletter box. We sign up for a newsletter, and here it's going to add them to our newsletter list. And here we can create our templates. A newsletter queue, we can queue up actual newsletters to go out. And newsletter subscribers is where we're going to manage the people who are subscribing to our newsletter. Newsletter problem reports is if there's any sort of report about it not receiving, a particular person not receiving the email template or something like that, it's going to go under here. Next we have CMS. So CMS is going to manage a host of different things. It stands for Content Management System. And notice we have pages, static blocks, widgets, and polls. Pages are what you'd expect. The home page is a page. We have About Us as a page. Customer Service is a page. Basically, anything that's not a dynamically created page is going to be in here. So anything that you'll see here, these, like this furniture page, this is dynamically created, so this won't be under CMS. But if you wanted to create a page like About Us and just have it be a page to do whatever you'd like with, then this is going to be under Manage Content Pages. This is also where you'd go to edit the content. So if we click on any of these, you can edit the content for the home page, the About Us page, or anything like that. Next, we have static blocks. A static block is sort of like a page. However, it's a block that just shows up somewhere. So instead of being an entire page, it's just a grouping of content. Notice the footer links, if we click on this, is About Us, Customer Service, and Privacy Policy. If we, on our page, we scroll down, we'll see that those links appear here as About Us, Customer Service, and Privacy Policy. So this area right here, these three links, is just a block. Also, you'll notice that this electronics landing block, if you go to the electronics landing page, shows up before any of our products here. And it's a little wonky with this theme. However, this block of content right here is a block that we made, well, the default theme made, and then told to show up here. So this is useful whenever you have content that you want to be repeated throughout the store somewhere, and you could create it once and have it repeat on other pages. Now a widget, you can use widgets to create a most recent product listing. You can even use them to display a block on a certain page. We'll go over widgets in more detail in section 5. Next, we have polls. So you'll see what's your favorite color and what's your favorite Magento feature are two polls that have already been created. If we go on some of our pages, you'll see this community poll pop up, and you can turn these polls off entirely if you don't want polls. However, they might be helpful for gathering information about what your customers want to see on your store. To modify any of them, feel free to just click on them and go into them. And last, we have System. System is the largest category in the administrative section, and it does a whole lot. There's a ton in here. So we're actually going to take an entire video just to talk about this configuration section here, but we'll go over these. So my account is going to talk about exactly the admin account on this site. Notice how it has my email, my first name, last name, and my username. Here you can create a new password for the administrative account if you'd like. Now, notifications. This is going to be whenever, if you remember when you first installed your site, there was a whole bunch of messages in here, maybe a new version of Magento, anything like that is going to land in notifications. Now, tools, you can use this to create backups. Compilation is something you shouldn't really have to touch. It's more about the internals of Magento, and we're not going to be covering that in this video series. Web services also won't be covered in this series because it's advanced use. Next, under design, we can have a design change that runs from a certain date to a certain date. This is something like if you have a holiday design that you want to enable, you can set it so it only shows up on the holidays, and that's it. And then it automatically will turn itself off. Import and export allows you to import and export products with a CSV file, and you can import or export as many products as you would like. You can transfer an entire store this way. Let's say for some reason you were unhappy with Magento Community and wanted to try Magento Go, you could export all of your products out of this Magento and import them into another one. This is going to save you the time of having to recreate that data. Next, we have Manage Currency. You shouldn't have to manage the currency on your site right now, but you can see it's just changing the symbol for the US dollar or the euro. And that we're not going to go too much more into this other than that. Next, we have transactional emails. This is where you set up the emails that are going to go out when somebody has purchased a product or created an account or anything like that. By adding new templates, you can modify existing Magento templates to say what you would like to say on them in case you do not like what the defaults are. Next, we have custom variables. Now, if you need to set up a variable that's used throughout the site, like a phone number or something like that, and anytime you want to use it, you'll just drop in, let's say you're on a page or something like that, you can just drop in this variable instead of having to type it. That way, if it needs to change ever, you only have to change it in one spot. So this is going to be handy if you're creating a lot of content with blocks or pages. Next, we have permissions. Here, you can create user permissions and roles. We're going to be going over that later in a video in this section. Magento Connect is how you install Magento extensions. Cache management is how you flush and clear your cache. Caching is going to make your site run faster, so you're going to want to leave all of these things on, unless of course you're theming your site or anything like that. Next, we have index management. Sometimes when creating products or moving categories around, you need to update your index, and you'll be getting a message on the top of your screen. You may have gotten that when you installed Magento saying you need to update your index. You can come in here to do that. Next, we have manage stores. Notice how we have a website name, a store name, and a store view name. This is the main website, the main store, and it's going to be in English. The store view is just a view of the store. It's how it looks. Notice how we have English, French, and German, so those are going to be changing the language options. The store name is the main store because these are all built off of the same store. If you wanted to manage multiple different stores in a single Magento installation, you could create a new store. So last we have order statuses. Now here the defaults are all processing pending. You can change these if you'd like. However, there's not a whole lot of reason to change these unless you have particular verbiage that you're using in your store and that you'd like to have it say on these. However, you can leave these order statuses as they are and you shouldn't have to mess with them. In the next video, we're going to be showing you this configuration link here, and we're going to go into all the goodies in there.